Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your very first gameplay of the QN506. This is the top ground reward for the Repair Factory crafting event, and in this video, finally, I will be able to show you exactly how this plays in a match rather than just test drive. So if you guys don't know, this vehicle is, at least in theory, bonkers. This has some ridiculous armament. It's got the QN502 CDD, which is a top strike ATGM tandem charge with 1,000 millimeters of armor pen at max, and let's not forget that this is also fire and forget. Now I think that the maximum speed on this went down a little bit from 250 to 205 meters per second, but regardless it should still be really quick. Additionally, we have the QN201DD, which is the secondary rocket armament, which is guided with the mouse essentially. Kind of wherever your turret is aiming is where those are going to go. Pretty effective. It's only got 200 millimeters of armor pen, but still pretty damn good. And on top of all that, we have a decent, but not amazing, but still pretty good 30 millimeter autocannon with APDS FS or APFSDS that is up to 102 millimeters of armor pen, plus a laser warning receiver, and a Gen 2/Gen 3 thermal sight, and on top of that, it has ERA right here in the front. So very impressive. So that said, let's take this out into a few matches, see how it performs. But man, this thing, at least again in test drive, is ridiculous. I cannot wait to bring this thing out and shock the world. Let's get into it. Now, as we get closer to the battle, there are some really important things to note. This is based on the ZTZ59, which itself is, I believe, what is that, like a T54 or T55? So it's not very fast. It's got like a 17.5 power to weight ratio, horsepower per ton power to weight ratio, which obviously is not fantastic. Now, it does still move pretty decently, but you're going to be capped out at around 50 kilometers per hour. Overall, handling isn't great, and it slows you down pretty quickly. Also, you do need to be fully stopped in order to actually fire your missiles. Doesn't matter what type, whether it's the 70 or the 151 millimeter missiles, you do have to be fully stopped in order to actually use them, which really kind of sucks in my opinion, but I can kind of understand. Now, we do have capability to lock onto aircraft, which is awesome. That was not that way when I initially test drove this vehicle a few days ago, so that is a nice change. The turret traverse speed on this thing is pretty much booty chatter, though. It's not great. I mean, for a vehicle like this, it has characteristics much more reminiscent, I guess you could say, of a medium tank than what you might expect from a light tank like this. Okay, I got that kill. Very nice. He did destroy my buddy, but really the whole point of this gameplay, if you guys don't know, it's not to be like, oh, look at me, Tankenstein is so good. It's to more or less just kind of show you guys exactly what you can expect from a vehicle like this. I don't want to sugarcoat this video. I don't want to make it seem like this vehicle is the greatest thing in the history of mankind. I want to make it realistic. I want you guys to see exactly what its capabilities are, and again, what you can expect before you start grinding for it, because there could be a lot of issues with this vehicle that I just don't know about or you don't know about until you actually see gameplay for it. And that wouldn't be fair if you guys put a ton of grinding into this vehicle and get an inferior product. Unfortunately, because of the way that the larger missiles function, I would imagine that this is probably better in open maps. So in a city map like this, I don't really know if it's going to function incredibly well. Let's go back up here. That was a little slippery. So in a city map, I could more so imagine the 71 millimeter cannons doing quite well, as opposed to, whoa, this did not want to be cratered. Got the kill. Nice, BMP-2M. That'll show you. I was trying to fire close. Nice. 2S38. Okay, it looked like I just saw somebody over there. I think... no, he's dead. So I'm getting So this seems like it might be a pretty decent strategy in the city. As much as I hate to say it, kind of laying in wait, similar to a spider, might be a way to play this thing. I hate to do it, but I mean, I got 2 really quick kills. Now those 20 or the 71 millimeter, or however big those cannons or missiles are, they don't seem to have done a ton right there. Okay, we got an enemy. Nice, we got that kill. Okay, that looks like a object, an object 279. Okay, I am officially not doing anything to this guy. Okay, I just stopped him, I think. Yeah, I'm not able to do anything at the front from against that Object 279, unfortunately. But I can try to flank. I'm assuming somebody's going to be trying to flank me. So I want to throw down those smokes. We have an Object 279 right there. Buddy in the 2AV. Obviously, I'm not going to go through the front of a 279. I know that. I'm not even going to feel like I am. But I felt like those missiles may have hit a weak spot if I was lucky. But I guess I am not. So a few things I'm noticing about this vehicle. It's that the cannon isn't this Wunderwaffe, obviously. You know, people, at this point in War Thunder, we know more or less about how different autocannons work, how much different armor pens are going to actually do, and whatever else, right? Like, we kind of get that. But it seems like the missiles on this, like the 70 millimeter, as well as the larger ones, they just aren't all that great. I mean, they're good, like that, but that was also a Leopard tank, right? You know, like, they'll do something, but just not all too incredibly much. Is that guy dead? I'd like to think he is. But I think that those are more for, like, damaging modules and things of that nature, right? Now, the larger missiles are typically not going to be all too impactful in your typical gameplay, because they have to go up and then strike. Like, they kind of have to create, like, this process to actually hit an enemy. Whereas if they're right in front of you, you have to lock on first. So it's not quite as easy as firing the smaller missiles, which do less damage. So it's almost like you have 2 different types of missiles for 2 different things and not much middle ground, right? Like, those larger missiles are great for long-range shots. They are great for you know, for more heavily armored vehicles. They are great for, you know, any number of things in that regard, but they're not really great for close range. The 20 millimeter cannons are great for close range, but they're not really great. You know, I'm getting more kills, it feels like, with this cannon than I am with the missiles, with the rockets, unfortunately. Is that an enemy? I have a tough time even seeing what an enemy is. And also, this laser warning receiver, it's fun. Okay, it looks like I might have a helicopter trying to kill me. In which case, I really want to find... Okay. Let's fire that off on him. I'm sure I can get that kill. I'm sure I can. There we go. Very, very nice. But I'm still being pointed at by some sort of laser somewhere, which is unfortunate. Probably going to be a drone, I'm assuming. But ultimately, like I said, these cannons, or the missiles rather, are very good at what they do. Like, I mean, there are very few missiles in-game that I would rather have at longer range than the QN502 CCD, or whatever it is, right? There we go. But when it comes to close range, there are very few missiles that I wouldn't rather have instead of it. In much the same way, the smaller missiles, I really like at close range for a lot of things, but I would much rather have the BMP-2M's missiles. I'd almost rather have any other missile at close range over the close range missiles on this. However, they can still do enough damage where it's like, okay, they're almost kind of like HE, you know, but more effective. But either way, let's get into another match, see how we can do. But otherwise, thus far, I'm pretty impressed, but I'm setting my expectations for this vehicle. And it's not the wonder weapon everybody's thinking it might be, but it's still very, very good. That said, let's get into the next match. Okay, that's very interesting. What the heck just happened? Okay, now that was fun. I really have to get used to how these missiles work, right? So, like, press one button for one and one button for the other, because most vehicles don't work like that. You know, you have one type of missile, then you have your grenade launcher and all that. But I have to remember that, you know, X missile fires one way, X missile fires the other way. So that is very important. We have somebody up there. You know what? Just for sake of doing this, I'll go up there. But some initial impressions on this vehicle when it's not being stuck in a trench. I mean, I'm pretty impressed by it. Now, do I think, like I said, as I said in the previous video, I don't really think that this is some type of Wunderwaffe by any means. But it is still a very good vehicle for what it is. You know, it's not something that I think most people should be going crazy over. I don't really... Okay, he's already dead somehow. I didn't get that assist. I don't really think that this is something that a lot of people should be going crazy over. It's a very, very killable vehicle. That ERA is next to nothing. It doesn't really do much for survivability. It's just overall a mixed bag, right? Like, it's got a lot that it can do, but again, like I said in the previous match, the missiles are very good. Each missile is very good at a certain thing. It's not really a great missile for two things. Like, the BMP-2M's missiles are great for close and long range. The larger missiles on this are really only good for long range, or longer ranges. Like, you know, I'm talking a few hundred yards, like where they can really stretch their legs. Not so much here. What is going on? Okay, I want to fire at him. Hopefully I can hit him. They're really good for anti-air. There's that. I don't know if I'm going to get that kill, though. He seemed a little bit far. Okay, we have a guy right there. I'm going to fire a missile on him. I don't think I'm going to get that kill. Yeah, he's already dead. Okay. Got a nice assist on him. So I'm not dying as much as I thought I would. Or as quickly as I kind of imagined that I would. But I'm still dying, obviously, quicker than a lot of other people would. So, again, do I like this vehicle? Yes. But it's not some amazing vehicle that everybody is going to want to get. And if you don't get it, you're going to be the worst at this game. You know, this is not by any means a necessary vehicle. But it also allows people to test out a lot of different game styles. It's very good. It's almost kind of like having a sample platter, you know? Like, you have your air-to-air missile, like you can be a good SPAA with this, for the most part. I mean, it's not infallible. You can be a pretty good tank destroyer with this. You can be, you know, this, that, and the other thing with this vehicle, but it's not going to be the best tank destroyer. I think that the BMP-2M is better than this at destroying other tanks, personally. It's not going to be the best SPAA. I mean, it's very good, especially if you're firing at longer ranges against targets. Like, if they're closer and they're making and they're doing maneuvers, you're probably not going to hit them. But at longer ranges, this thing is fantastic for that. You know, I mean, it really depends on how you use it. But for long range, this is a very, very good vehicle, in my opinion. And even for close range in flanking shots, I feel like it's extremely effective as well. I mean, there's just a whole host of things that you can really use this vehicle with, but you really can't go into a match expecting that you're just going to dominate because you have this, that, and the other weapon. You know, you really don't. You don't have the greatest weapons of all time with this thing. Okay, there's somebody else over here. I'm not trying to scout your team, buddy. But anyways, 2 kills, 4 assists. I feel like that's going to be pretty normal. But that said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please, of course, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But do I give this thing like a 10 out of 10? No. But I'll probably give it a 7.5 to an 8.5 out of 10. Still excellent for what it is. Take care, everyone.